Howdy, all you delicious people. I'm here today to review Queenpins. So right now, currently this movie is on Paramount Plus, and it is also available on Showtime. Also, I would go on and mention that you can go on and Google search a number of apps that eventually will have this movie also. You can go on and Google search a app called Letter C Movies, or could also go on and search an app called Fox HD Movies. The logo will say so, but the title will say something different. It'll say like Play 1080p HD Movies. You could also go and just kind of Google, or you can go on and just search on a Google Play Store. You can kind of search the word movie apps and just kind of flip through to just kind of see if there is a movie app that's conveniently for you. So, all these things are mainly free. There's probably ads in between the film, but really you would be able to watch a movie without actually paying for it at some point, or having to get into an app that is to go on and make you go on and have some subscription, or whichever. So, Queenpins. Immediately I have to easily go on and say I was won over by this film. Just the concept just feels so unique. I really do enjoy it. I really did enjoy this film, because a lot of people might not know what exactly this film is about, and so I'm going to kind of give you a teeing up version, a cryptic-like sense, and so on and so forth in the beginning of here, and then we'll go into spoilers about this movie and just talk about it. So in the very beginning of this movie, we find out that we have both Connie and Jojo, who are people that are just trying to help you, or help themselves save money. Because we have Jojo, who's kind of this YouTuber that is going on and trying to help people, like get the best value out of a cheaper item. And Connie is to, of course, be this Olympic speed walker that is, of course, to try and save as much money as humanly possible by buying things in a massive bulk, because there seems to be this coupon that doesn't have any limits. So Connie's taking advantage of that limitation of coupons. But then all of a sudden, we go and we have these characters that are to realize that these coupons, like, there's something that they could go and do and take advantage of these whole free coupons that at some point someone is to get. Because we have Connie, who just mails in this complaint to a Wheaties box, and all of a sudden, Connie's to all of a sudden get this free Wheaties box after she's going and sending this kind of thing in. And so Connie's like, well, let me see if I could just go on and like send all of these letters to all these companies just to see if I can go on and get free stuff. And then she goes on and does that, and she's like, well, like, how could we go on and really take advantage of this? And so it spirals from there to where all of a sudden we go on and have these people kind of creating this this kind of scheme of sorts to try and go on and sell these coupons for less than the product is to actually be, hence them making like tons and tons of money off of this supposed scam, I would believe. So, and we have within this story, we of course have a guy named Ken, who is to of course be the guy in the corner there with the glasses. We have Ken, who is to be this kind of loss prevention kind of security guy for some grocery store, and he's starting to realize that he is getting complaints from a number of places that are all heavily having these coupons being used, because we of course have Ken, who is to find out whether or not these coupons are valid or not. And yeah, they are, but it seems like they're coming at a mass quantity. And so now Ken is wanting to alert the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and they basically just send him Simon, who is Vince Vaughn's character, who is to just be involved in like the federal postal the federal post kind of bureau, and so we have this seem to be this kind of outlandish like investigation being pursued about these women that are taking advantage of these coupons. And I thought that this movie was just really clever. I would go on and I would see certain people on the news, because this would eventually get covered at some point, where we'd have this person that's going on and she is heavily saving, so much so that hundreds and hundreds worth of dollars of coupons could eventually just land her into getting like to an absurd amount of degree, from hundreds of dollars like pulled back to just be like $15 or $16 worth of actual savings that she has to just fork over. So hundreds of dollars to eventually turn around and just be $16 at the end of all these coupons that are all valid. So yeah, like from a retail like person that would go on and kind of do these kind of general stores, like I would see all kinds of things where a lot of people would try to bring in these like expired coupons, or and there'd be just so many times where I'd have to go on and just like, hey, here's another coupon, I don't really get what this is, and they would just be like, oh yeah, like, and there would be a lot of times where you'd have these like horrible times where a coupon, like for whatever day it's supposed to be, that's supposed to be this like sale, the coupon wouldn't be in the system. And it's just like, this is a massive coupon that everyone is going to use. And they're like, oh yeah, just kind of key in these numbers. I'm like, seriously? Every single time we're going to have to key in these things because you guys can't put a coupon for the freaking system? Are you kidding me? Like, there'd be all kinds of problems that eventually would arise when somebody would be bringing in some kind of discount or some kind of barcode or some kind of rebate, or like there would always be problems where you'd have to just kind of manually put these things in, and there's a lot of times there'd be barcode issues where you'd have to manually put in the barcodes, because it's like, oh yeah, like those barcodes, they don't scan. So it's a lot of issues that people probably don't understand when people bring in coupons and whatever that aren't even in the system, and it just sucks and it seems like they're never going to put them in the system because a lot of places just don't care, in all honesty. So, so it's basically just a coupon movie, and people may not understand that. But yeah, I guess when you go into this lavish amount of savings, things start to feel sketchy, where all of a sudden there's a number of items that are all going on to be free. That's where you would kind of get stores where they would kind of limit things, or be like, well, only one per customer, or you could only use this certain kind of coupon once, and they would try to limit it, but a lot of people would just be like, well, like, I'm just going to go back through another aisle and just buy, like I should be able to use these coupons all at once. It's ridiculous. But it is what it is with this story. So I loved this story simply because, like, from taking it from this, like, this is a very unique kind of film, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because I think a lot of people would go on and just want to try to find the best bargain. And luckily I'm not on that end of the sword anymore, where it's like you have to go on and people are just like, well, hey, like, this price isn't good enough, I want it even better than that. And it's like, huh? like I have this coupon that I have for like 50% off something, and I'm like, well, that's only to deal with like food and whatever, that like this doesn't tie, it's 50% off. Like, you don't get it. Like, yeah, you get all these kind of problems. But anyways, let's go out of our way. Yeah, let's go into that double 5 time territory. Let's just go into more spoilers about this one. Let's go out of our way to say it's spoiler time. It's about that time again to spoil. this movie. Let's go into it further. So we have Connie, who's to be this speed Olympic walker. For some odd reason, I guess she's figured out how to, I guess, be training for the Olympics. So we go on and we find out that Connie is to go on and try to continue to crunch and save money because Connie is trying to go to the fertility clinic and is to like try to save up for a child because Connie and Rick are really trying to have another child. Rick is actually played by Joel McHale. So and I kind of thought that, like, I'm like, yeah, Joel McHale, yeah. Like, I always like him and everything that he's in, and he doesn't disappoint in this movie. So, Connie goes on, and she is trying to save up for this kid, and she is to be best friends with a girl named JoJo, who JoJo is to be this YouTuber like I said before, like she goes on and tries to find the best value out of the cheapest items, and so she goes on and does these YouTube videos, and we have Mama Josie that is to consistently try and interrupt JoJo every time she's doing these videos. So, to where JoJo's like, man, I gotta start all over again. Like, you know what? Like, I guess you could just have it where, like, Mama Josie is to be kind of like the comedic relief at some points. But, anyways, so we have Connie that keeps getting these coupons off of this girl from off this truck. And so Connie gets, like, a lot more coupons than what she would have. And Rick is just like, seriously, like, where are you making these, like, back alley deals? Connie's just like, well, hey, like, she's just a friend of mine, and she's kind of giving me these coupons, and it's like, well, hey, like, I might as well use it to my benefit. So, because Connie goes to a store and buys, like, $100 worth of groceries, and by the time that all the coupons come through, it's, like, $16. So we of course have this cashier who of course is Greg is kind of annoyed with this woman because he knows that she's like the coupon lady, and so Connie used to go on and have this whole room that's just kind of stockpiled with all this product that she has kind of labeled and dated for it to expire for her to use, and like as if she's like having a bunker or something of items. And so Rick is going on and like, God, why do you have all of this stuff? Like stuff that we're probably never going to use. And Connie's like, well, but look at all the savings that I made. Instead of having to go on and just kind of buying it whenever we need it, instead we can just kind of stockpile what we already have. And so, and most of this stuff won't expire anyways. And so it's just kind of like, hey, whenever you need it, like that's when we have it. And plus, I'm assuming also a lot of this stuff in this movie is probably all sponsorship, maybe, because you would assume that possibly all these items could have easily been the sponsorship of this movie. So good for them, like very clever for them to go on and kind of get to use all of this stuff. So, Connie at one point is to have tried to go to the fertility clinic to try and get pregnant numerous times, to just sadly fall short, to where Connie instead just kind of uses this baby room as this place to kind of like stock all these shelves for all these items. So, Connie then goes on and she is to open up this box of Wheaties because she's just kind of feeling down, and she just starts eating this box of Wheaties, and she's like, nah, like this box of Wheaties just tastes like crap. So Connie goes and she is leaving a very disappointing message to General Mills, and so she mails it off to General Mills, and she ends up getting a coupon for a free Wheaties, and she's like, all right, so like, Connie is to realize that, I guess, for a number of companies would send her a free item every time she is to have uh, some kind of bad thing to say about this company. And she's like, well, like, what if you could go on and do that for everything? And so that kind of is what gets the wheels turning for Connie. And so she gets like a pretty decent amount of like just free things. And so Connie brings JoJo on this, and she's like, "Hey, like, look at all these coupons that I got." And JoJo's like, "Oh my god, like, wow, these are actually some really interesting items that I would want to go on and pick up myself." And so Connie is like, "Well, here's the thing. What if I could sell you this coupon for a way cheaper price than what the actual item is?" And JoJo's like, "Oh my god, like, so we can be making money hand over fist for an item we would get for free to turn around and give somebody else to get a free item." But we would like, so it's kind of like that whole like, you're basically just printing money at that point. And so, but Connie is to want to go even further with JoJo and is thinking, well, what if we go to the actual like place that actually prints these things off and talk to somebody, like kind of figure out a person that we can talk to see if they could go on and want to like work with us to keep giving us these coupons at a mass rate so we can go on and have some site that kind of just sells them. And so JoJo is kind of promoting this whole selling thing on her YouTube channel that's kind of making her YouTube channel very unique because she has these kind of free offers and whatever, because there's just a lot of YouTubers that eventually go on and are to like come up with these kind of like free like, hey, here's a giveaway and all this other garbage. No offense to any of those people that do that, because like, hey, they probably like, hey man, I spent the money for X number of these items. It's all a write-off for me. So like, I might as well just kind of give these things away. But it just kind of feels like, hey guys, if you like and you comment and you hit all the bells and the whistles and whatever, then I will give you this item. And then it really just doesn't work that way. Like we have like Mr. Beast would go on and be like, hey guys, if you all subscribe to this channel, like maybe at some point you'll be involved in one of these games that goes on to the Mr. Beast channel. And you just kind of find out like, oh, so that's the, like, every bit of this to just be some kind of writing off scheme or just some kind of thing where it's just a consistent write-off because this guy is to be this big massive hit on YouTube anyways, because he's really good at what he does. So like, I'm not gonna freaking hate the fact that somebody is to kind of just figure things out. So pushing on, so we have Alejandro that is to seemingly go on and kind of give Rosa this one kind of thing kind of underhandedly. And Connie's like, that can be our guy because he's already doing something kind of shady anyways. So we have Connie and JoJo meeting up with Alejandro and Rosa. And all of a sudden they're thinking like, oh my god, like we're like they're gonna arrest us, they're gonna find us out. And so all of a sudden we just have Alejandro and Rosa who are just running off and like, oh my god, they figured us out, they're coming for us. And Connie and JoJo are like, no, you don't get it. Like, we're just trying to talk to you, like, because you're working at this business. And so Alejandro is talking with these ladies, and he's like, well, hey, like, yeah, like, I just found out that Rosa is pregnant, and I have a baby on the way, And so like, and I'm only making like $2 an hour from this business. So like, if you guys can figure out some way to get me money for this, like, heck yeah, like, I'll just go and keep dropping off these boxes that are to be these excess boxes that we would normally throw away, but like, they'll just kind of land on a truck and you guys can drive these off. So all of a sudden we start having Connie, who's getting this woman from off these trucks. And so now this business is just flowing. We have JoJo, who's kind of promoting all these YouTube channel things, and things are just going well. And so all of a sudden we see both Connie and JoJo, like, money is just flowing in. But then all of a sudden we turn around and we have Ken here, who is starting to realize that these things are coming in bulk, and like, they're realizing if they're all valid or not from all these A&G grocery stores. So Ken starts like going in and like looking at all this stuff, and he's just like, well, no, like, all these coupons are really valid, but like it just seems that they're coming in such mass quantities that it doesn't make sense. And so Ken all of a sudden is start to like look through receipts and try to figure things out. And he's like, aha, there has to be some kind of like scam coming from all this. And I have to go on to the FBI to kind of figure this whole thing out. Because, of course, Ken is to be this guy who's trying to figure out the valid coupon thing. Because he, of course, is be this loss prevention guy that works for this grocery store company. So Ken turns around, and so he is to go to the FBI, and the FBI is just like, coupons? Really? Like, this is ridiculous. So we then have seemingly months passing, and Ken continues to call these FBI people, and he's just really persistent. And he's just like to the point where he's making jokes about like, well, hey, you guys are still having an investigation being done, right, on these people? And so finally these people lament, and so there finally be this one detective that calls Ken, is like, well, hey, like, I have never had any field work, and like, what is it that's going on with your case? And so Ken explains this whole case to this guy, and he's just like, well, so people are getting these items through the mail to get these coupons. And so the guy's like, so we turn around and we have this guy who sends in a guy named Simon, who is Vince Vaughn's character, to Ken. So we have, of course, Ken, when Simon is to come to him, he's like, so you're a post office man. Like, I'm basically getting a postal man. I'm not getting a FBI agent. And Simon's just like, well, hey, like I'm here to help, so let's kind of figure this out. So we have it where Ken starts going through and finding people who were to go on and do this this scam. And so he starts talking to one woman that is desperately needing to buy a lot of Cheerios for a 1-year-old. And so Ken is like, well, hey, what was the YouTube channel that you got this from? And it's from Sally Super Savings. And he's like, okay. So he looks into it and is to go on and find this site. And so we now have it where Simon is telling him, like, well, okay, just order something from this site and we can kind of tell where it's coming from. So all of a sudden we find out that both Connie and both JoJo are to have their accounts getting frozen because it seems that too large of income is coming in from this, and it kind of feels very shady. And so Connie is talking to the PayPal people, trying to get everything squared away. And so all of a sudden that lands them into this kind of very weird uh, Tempa Tina girl who is to like be this kind of hacker underground person that's to go on and get these things of money conveniently. And so Tina goes on and she's telling these girls, like, well, hey, like I can go and unfreeze your account, but here's the thing, like you guys need to figure out how to do this in a kind of very much more like smarter approach, or otherwise you're going to get caught doing this. So you guys should go on and have all these like kind of shadow accounts, and you guys should eventually realize that like eventually your money will be cleaned and dirtied and whatever. So like you guys got to just figure out how to like just kind of do this. And so all of a sudden the girls think that their money is all of a sudden dirty and they have to figure out a way to launder their money. So all of a sudden these girls are just buying all these huge massive items. They're buying on, and like they're buying a private jet, they're buying lavish cars, they're buying a crap ton of guns, and they're needing to figure out how to sell all these items. Once Tina is to tell these girls is like, hey, your money is already cleaned. Like you don't need to go and launder your money. You guys are just buying all these items just to buy them, and you're wasting your money. And so they're like, oh, okay. So then we go on. We have Rick, who kind of comes home one day because it seems like he's very rarely home. Because like he's doing IRS audits and like so he's always busy. So Rick is to come home one day, and because Rick is to go on and tell Connie, it's like, well, hey, you should probably just get a job. And Connie turns around and she is telling Rick, it's like, oh yeah, I'm doing something in sales. And he's like, sales? And I'm like, that seems very shady, because I'm like, that seems very vague. But so all of a sudden we have Connie that's telling him, yeah, I'm doing something in sales, and like from the money that I made, like I got this brand new TV, and like everything's working out. We don't need to cut coupons anymore. Rick is like, well, great, like this is awesome. And you would think now would be the time for them to do like, well, like then let's have a baby now if things are working out. Like, but no, Rick is just kind of hesitant about that. So we have it where we have both Simon and both Ken that are both on this plane. And so Simon is to feed Ken this one story. And it's kind of this old-fashioned piece of mail. And Simon goes on and he is to read this letter about a guy who is to go on to war and kind of leave his wife behind. And so after Simon is to rattle off this letter to Ken, Ken is like, wait a minute, so now I'm going to want to, like, was there ever another letter being sent? Like, I want to know if the guy survived. Like, I want to know if the guy made it back. Is there, like, some kind of way to track that down? And Simon is just like, no. And so Ken is just like, wait a minute. Like, and this is, like, in the early stage of this case. And Ken is like, but I want to know. like, how could you just open up that Pandora's box on me and, like, not expect me to want to know the tail end of that story? And because I want to know. And so, and we also have Ken that is desperately wanting Simon to just deputize him, because he wants to, like, really be involved in this case. He wants to really be asking the tough questions. And so, like, so we have these guys that go through this journey of trying to figure out where all this stuff is coming from. And so Simon is to find out through the mail of where exactly these things are to be coming from. And it's, of course, from Phoenix. It says Kansas on one side, but actually it's coming from Phoenix. So they go to Phoenix, and so now they're trying to go through the post office to just. They're going through certain grocery stores, and they're going through post offices. And so these guys are going through every single grocery store to see if there is a person that consistently like kind of cuts coupons. And so that leads us to the one Greg cashier that's saying like, yeah, like this girl is to always say this saying over and over again about like save a penny, like save a pound kind of thing. And so we then kind of have these people continue to uh, try to figure out where possibly this girl could be coming from. And so we go on and we also ask the Postal Service if it seems that people are kind of to be sending out a lot of letters. And so we, of course, have the one mailman who is to actually be a guy named Earl that is to realize that maybe his friend is to be in trouble. Because Earl is to like JoJo, and when he kind of delivers her letters, he actually is a big fan of her YouTube channel, and so he knows technically all about her. And so Earl is going on of like, yeah, I really love your videos. Like, it's like you read my mind and everything. So, like, both of these two are kind of smitten with one another. And so we have at one point where Earl is like, hey, can you read my mind? And so, like, JoJo's like, yeah, I think I can. And she's kind of doing this head bobble thing. She's like, nope. So we have Earl that is to possibly know what these detectives are talking about. And Earl all of a sudden is to just kind of play dumb. And he's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And the other mailman is like, yeah, Earl, yeah, I'm sure, like, you give these messages to this JoJo girl who does this, like, YouTube channel, and you just talk all the time about her. And Earl's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, nobody really wants to get in trouble here. So all of a sudden we have both Simon and Ken who are just kind of following this mailman around, and we find out that that Earl is to deliver this letter to JoJo and kind of telling her, hey, the jig's up, they found out about you, so like, and I'm like, man, that could tie you to this thing. You could get some jail time there, buddy. Like, unless they burn the letter afterwards. So, but they don't get the letter until too late. But, so we have both Ken and Simon like, aha, like we figured out who it is. Because this guy is just kind of acting all awkward in front of this person. So we figured it out. So now we have to go on and kind of figure out, like, okay, is JoJo kind of working alone, or is she working with somebody? And so then they also find out about the Olympic speed walker girl who is Connie. And it's like, aha, like we figured out they're working together. So once they finally know who both of these characters are, they decide to go on and turn them in. And so now we have, like, the SWAT bursting in and, like, all these guys in all this gear. And we have one of the officers that's going through this mission, and he's like, don't you think this is a little overkill for all this? Like, one of the officers. And Ken is like, no, man, like, let's go. And so, and like, Simon is taking Ken along with him, like, hey, man, do you want to ride along to just kind of see these people getting taken in? Because Ken had, like, if Ken wouldn't have been the one trying to put this whole thing together, and he's been trying to get this case for a long stretch of time. Like, and Ken is always saying, like, this is my white whale, like, this is the big case that I'm. But Simon is just starting to realize from Ken that he wants to finally do something that makes his life like worth it. Like he finally just wants like some meaning in his life, because Ken goes home and he's just like fuck, because he's just so like upset with his life, but he kind of just bottles it all in until he finally goes home and is like fuck, and then just kind of releases that pain, that anguish out. So these girls end up getting arrested, and so we even find out that like Rick is getting arrested, and so like Simon is talking to Rick, and Rick is like, I don't even know why I'm here. Like, I'm not even involved in this. Like, I didn't do anything. And Simon's like, But, yeah, there's nothing that Simon can pin Rick on. It's just, like, the two girls. And so we have Connie trying to go on to say that she wasn't involved in any of this stuff. She doesn't even know who Sally Super Saver is. Because Tina, the hacker girl, was to take down all these girls' videos, but it seems that someone was to possibly download one of this girl's videos, or was to go on and try and figure out how to keep any of these videos, and so Sally's basically effed. So, or like JoJo is basically effed here. So JoJo has to come clean, but Connie is just like, well, you know what? Like, I'm going to take the fall for this. So, like, so if it comes down for me to get, like, 40 years to life, then, like, that's what I'll do. To just kind of save you, and I'll just kind of take the brunt of all this. And so we have Connie that goes on and is to kind of talk to her husband, because JoJo is to get bailed out by the mailman guy, and Connie is to just get a phone call from her husband, and her husband is like, "What the fuck?" So Connie's just like, "Well, hey, like, bail me out. Like, why aren't you here to just bail me out?" And so we had Connie that is, of course, she goes to this sperm bank, or she goes to try to this fertility clinic, and instead of deciding to use her own husband's sperm, she goes on and decides to use somebody else's, who's to be a much more prime candidate for her. And so now we end up having Connie, who is also trying to sell certain man's juices, let's just say. So we don't have to say, quite that often. So so this girl is just trying to buy everything possible to just kind of turn around and sell weirdly. So Connie goes on, and she is to like be pregnant in prison, and she of course is going to be in prison for 9 months, or 8 months with good behavior, because she's only going to prison for 11 months. And I think JoJo is only going to prison for like less than 2 weeks, because she's getting like a slap on the wrist. So the funny thing of it, we find out that the people, the couple, Alejandro and Rosa, that these two were working with, like, had decided to just kind of jump ship and get the heck out of where they were. And so it's like, yeah, we're never going to find those people. Like those people have just jumped ship. And so we find out that JoJo is going on and putting back together another one of these kind of scams, but she's kind of making like a corporate thing about it. She's calling it BOGO Industries. If you know what BOGO means, it's like buy one get one. And so we have JoJo that is kind of putting together this huge company because JoJo was going through Rick's place and was going through and cleaning out all the stuff that was Connie's. And so, because Rick is just going on and telling, like, JoJo, it's like, yeah, just kind of take everything. Like, I'm not going to need it. And so, because Connie breaks up with Rick and says, I want a divorce. And so Connie used to go on and stack all these huge, massive wads of money in these kind of Tampax boxes without Rick knowing. And so JoJo was to take all these boxes and she used to whip out these big fistfuls of money with Earl, and they're like, oh my god, like, we're gonna get out of here, we're gonna just go on and start this whole scam all up again, but just kind of do it from a place where like we can just do it a lot better, and we can kind of figure out how to do this scam a lot differently, that they can go on and kind of make their money without the federal government knowing about it. So, because it seems like there are so many loopholes that they're trying to do, was kind of getting like pretty lavish about all the loopholes that they were trying to figure out, as well as kind of Tina was kind of helping these guys try to figure out all these loopholes. So with that said, that's kind of how this movie is to wrap up, and we wrap up at the end of this story with both Simon and Ken is just kind of feeling defeated because yeah, like they didn't get all that kind of time like put on their sentence, and Simon is like, well, hey, like we just did our job, and so like, hey, like we just did what we needed to do. It was the right thing. So Simon goes on and is to whip out this other letter, and so Simon is to tell Ken that after all, the guy who was in that war actually did survive after a number of injuries, and that he's going to go back home, back to his wife. And Ken is like, oh my god, like you just finished that story for me. And Simon's like, well, yeah, I did. And Ken was like thinking that he was going to get the secondary letter, and Simon's like, no, you can't break up the set. But Simon walks off, and Ken is just like, wow, like I just like what a guy. Like you, like throughout this case, you kind of like, you gave me these ups and downs and whatever, but man, like we had the one point where Ken was trying to interrogate Earl, and like we had Ken who was mentioning like, hey, you ever dance with a tiger? And so Simon is going on and telling Ken, it's like, hey, don't ask him questions, like I'm the detective here. So Simon starts asking Earl questions, and then the last thing they ask him, it's like, well, hey, you ever dance with a tiger? And like Earl just kind of laughs, and kind of Earl is like yeah, like see, he made it funny, and Ken is like, what, like we were playing good cop bad cop, and Simon's like, well, yeah, but I'm the cop, you're nobody. So yeah. So with that said, at the end of it, like that's all that kind of plays out of this, where we just have both JoJo and Connie who are going and going to turn around and kind of make a real kind of business after all this is said and done. So with that said, I think I'm going to get my business out of here. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.